Hi, it's Jen from Shabby Fabrics, back with foundation paper piecing for August. I know in my garden the bees are crazy in August, and I couldn't resist having that be our theme, and there's something so special. I was having a lot of fun with this. I hope you can see this beautiful glitter in the wings of the bee. Bees are so important. I mean, I'm learning more about bees every day, and they are really essential to our own existence on Earth. And so let's celebrate those wonderful bees that work so hard for us in our gardens. So as usual, you've got 4 bees. We did a lot of fun things in the background this time, changing up the blues, again, adding a glitter. Fairy Frost is the amazing sparkle in their wings. If you have not checked out the Fairy Frost collection, it's beautiful. Sometimes it's a fairy frost, and sometimes they actually added glitter. So to check that out, go to our website. Across the top, Fabrics by Collection, Fairy Frost, and you're going to be just amazed. And by the way, there's many, I can't even remember how many, like 20 or 30 new Fairy Frosts coming in any day now, and you can be sure I'll be taking a deep dive into those, using those for projects because they had fun, right? So again, this is not a new series for us. We kicked this off many months ago where we took that deep dive showing you the process. I'll do just a quick reminder. We'll put the block together and we'll be on our way. Now, if you haven't checked out our other series called Tea and Cookies, there just might be a coordinating project for the month of August that coordinates with these fabrics. Just leaving you a hint there that if you haven't checked that out, you're going to definitely want to do that. How fun to have this and your entryway, and then the project coming up here again will coordinate perfectly with this. It might be a lovely kind of table, a breakfast nook or something like that. That is just a lovely little setting, an ensemble. So just like we've been doing, why do you get our kits? Because it's so easy. It's already done for you. Not only do you have a full color pattern showing you everything that you're going to be using, your fabrics are exactly what you see, no surprises. I've bought kits like that before where I saw the sample on the wall and I bought the kit and I got it home, and that is not what was in my kit. And that really turned me off. And so we want to make sure that the fabrics you're seeing and the fabrics you fall in love with are what is in your kit, and that is what you can expect. So you also get, like I said, the full color pattern, but the thing that people are loving so much is that all of the foundation papers are printed for you. As we know, most foundation paper patterns, you have to go out and not only Xerox them, but often enlarge them as well and hope you hit the scale right. And then you're also left on your own that when you start cutting those fabrics, you have to somehow stay organized. Post-it notes, sticky notes, whatever that is. We've included the stickers for you. So as you cut each piece, label it. Cut each piece, label it. Helps you stay organized and definitely have a much more enjoyable experience and really take the stress out of foundation paper. So it's just a repeatable process. So what is this process? Again, this is, if you're just now seeing this for the very first time, go back. This is our second series. We started actually last year with foundation paper piecing for April. It was a tulip where we take the deep dive into how does all of this work together to create something like this. It's a cool process and not at all intuitive. So I'm going to cover that with you just as a quick refresher. We've got, in this instance, we have 3 sections of our bee, and we have a 4th to go. Let me tell you what I'm talking about here. Let's just reference this. Let's reference this right here. We have sections A, B, C, and D. We make each section, and that's what's part of our foundation papers, right? We have our different sections, A, B, C, and D, and then it goes E, F, G, and H, and we continue on. And as we know, we're putting down some fabric, trim, sew, press. So let me just review that with you real fast. And if you're brand new, you're going to want to go back to that longer video. It's over an hour where we take that deeper dive again, and we're showing you how to use the add a quarter ruler. We started off finishing up our C, which is our last section. We've already done C1. We put down our main beautiful glitter fabric with just a little bit of glue on here. We did C2, C3. So over here it's C4. So with just a tiny little piece in that corner. And because I've already got everything labeled, I know that's going to be my pretty blue gingham. And so we'll fold back on our line till I'm right on that line with that pointier edge, and then we flip it around until it's got that lip. That's the add a quarter ruler that is specifically engineered for foundation paper piecing. And the job of C4 is to simply cover that shape, but also a 1/4 inch all the way around that. So you can see that will be no problem, but if you ever want to just test that out, you flip it over, hold it up, and I need to move it up, it looks like. And it didn't hit that spot very well. And there's my spot. It's a tiny little piece. So I'm going to pin on this side and let's go sew. Remember that when you're doing foundation paper piecing, I normally sew with a size 80-12 needle. Whenever I'm doing foundation, I actually use a Microtex Sharp size 70. It just pierces this ever so fine, and it makes it wonderful later on, especially when we're removing the papers, which we'll do after everything is actually put together. And I'm also sewing on a much shorter stitch length of 1.5. Now remember that I'm going to start sewing a little bit before, sew directly on my line, and stop a few stitches after. Let me move that out of the way so I don't hit that. Such a tiny little piece of fabric. There we go. And if you want to hand crank that down, that's fine. All right, and let's go. So trim, sew, press. Remember with the roll and press, you can do that step if you like. Sometimes because in my sewing room, my iron is just where the power is, the cord and that, there's just a little bit of a distance. Sometimes I will just do that roll and press. If you're like, nope, I want the good old-fashioned hot iron. Choose your own journey, as they say, whatever you want to do. Once you've done that, number 5, again, we will fold that back a little bit more. Use the lip to trim. And then our final piece, 5. This is a beautiful, I love this tufted blue. It's such a pretty color. This is from the Kimberbell Basics. This is some of Kim's newest fabrics. And let's see here. Let's make sure we're going to cover everything, and we definitely will. Remember, we don't have to cover this part out here. It's just the solid line. We got to reach out to that solid line, and we can definitely do that when the fabric is right there. So let's pin, and we'll sew one more time. Trim, sew, press. All right, once we've done that, now we want to start cleaning up, trimming exactly on that line. And you're seeing some very important notches. The more precise you cut this out, the easier of a time it is for you to put this all together. So let me move these things out of the way. A spinning mat is lovely to have, not necessary. We're not squaring up a block. You could most certainly just lift it up and turn it. So if you don't have a spinning mat, this is not necessarily the reason to go buy one, but I do insist on a spinning mat whenever I'm squaring up a block and I don't want to move it. Then I just find that spinning mat, no matter where it might be, in my craft room or where else I might have used it around the house. I use it a lot of times. Okay, we're squaring everything up. Let's clean up. And this is where our other wing is. Look at that glitter. It's so beautiful. So as we refer to our pattern, Our pattern is guiding us. Let me show you what's on the back side here. All right. Our pattern talks about, let's look at this. We're on this page here, and it's letting us know. So section A and B together, right? So you can see when we flip this over, this is very logical that this is, I actually put those on the other side, B, A, C, and that should be D. So you can see when you lay this out that this has to go together, right? These are going to come together and then the top's going to go on. We also tell you that here, but here's the other thing. We recommend leaving foundation paper in place until wall hanging assembly is complete. You have a lot of bias edges here, and I have made the mistake of removing the paper at this point, and I just have something very wonky in my hands. Here's the other thing. When you remove the paper, you have to find the 1/4 inch seam allowance, because look, by leaving the paper on, I don't need to find that 1/4 inch seam allowance. I am simply sewing on that solid line. So that is really so much more the reason to keep that paper on. So let's just put our block together. All right. Full hot. And yes, it's a little bulky at this point with that paper on, but it is so worth that at this point. All right, once we have this, look how this just clicks together like a puzzle. Why? Because we cut exactly on those drawn lines, those black printed lines, I should say. And because we're able to sew directly on that black line, we're not about 1/4 inch. We're right on the money at 1/4 inch, which also is helping this project to come together just beautifully. And at this point right here, just sew right off the edge. There you go. You definitely don't want to stop at that point, right? Or this would be open. So should have mentioned that before, but you understand, I think, why that's pretty important. And look at that. Look how beautiful this is. It's funny, when I was designing, I was debating about the wings. And one of the reasons that I thought I almost didn't do it is I thought, what if a little bit of glitter gets on someone's table and maybe they don't like that? First off, as we were making this project, what we discovered is no matter how we tried to almost rub it off, it wasn't coming. So I'm amazed at how embedded this glitter is in the fabric. If you do have some come off, I've always used the lint roller and it picks it up beautifully. But I'm so glad that I went ahead and just went with the glitter. It makes it a lot more fun. Now for our final piece, which of course will be piece D. So we can see this goes here. We're just going to put that, look at that. I love that. I think I told you guys before that for the longest time, I really resisted learning foundation paper piecing because I found it really confusing. And I felt kind of dumb that I wasn't just like, oh, of course I get that. I found it very confusing. Then once someone showed me the process and we repeated it many times, I loved it. I love the precision. I love being able to sew directly on a line, right? And make my block come out perfect. So again, I'm just going to point out to you that even though these are where the lines are, we start right off the fabric, come right on and right off the fabric. Otherwise, this would be open here and here. So yes, we're drawing on the line, we sew on the lines, but then a little bit before and a little bit after as well. Look at this. Oh my gosh, this is adorable. But that seam wants to go there. You know what? I'll go with that. Works for me. Go with wherever your seam wants to go. All we care is that your block works out. Once this is done, remember how we've done this before? We're starting to peel away our paper. If you have any difficulties with that in the corners, grab those tweezers. They're invaluable because my fingers just don't go there. And you see how I did that? Sometimes I just tear the paper just a little bit so I can get a hold of it. Or you can reach in there in your fingers. But invaluable to get that removed. And you can always have someone jump in that wants to be a helper. Great one to give off to our family that wants to just be part of what you're doing because it's fascinating to people, right? They're amazed at this. Of course, we'll make 3 more bees, and then like we've been doing, we add our beautiful sashing and our cornerstone. We add our batting, our backing. As you know, we love to then do that quilting where it gives it that embossed look, so be sure to pick up that thread set as well, and of course, any notions you might need. People are loving this series. It's something to look forward to each month because as we know, it's easy to decorate for Christmas. It's easy to decorate for the 4th of July. It's easy to decorate for Valentine's. But what about the rest of the months? Now you have something to look forward to. And remember that this project will be coordinating with our tea and cookies for 2 for August. So be sure to check that series out as well. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next month as we continue our series.